What's up, guys? I'm Joe. Today I'm talking about the new Lucy Dacus album, Historian. Lucy Dacus is a singer-songwriter. This is her second studio album. Not an artist that was on my radar at all. I hadn't heard of her before. I kind of just picked this album on a whim. I was scrolling through Apple Music, seeing what some of the new releases were, and I just picked this one, and I am so glad that I just happened to stumble upon it, because this really is a fantastic record, one of the best I've heard all year so far. All year, I mean, it's only March, but it really is fantastic. There was just so much to unpack on this album. The album just takes you on this journey. It's so easy to get sucked into it. The songs are so full with all these fantastic melodies and all this different instrumentation, all these different kinds of sounds. And Lucy's vocals just have this very calming feel to them, even when the music does start to swell and build up. So like I said, it's easy to kind of get lost in these songs, especially some of these longer tracks. A bunch of them, go past the 5-minute mark, but it really doesn't overstay its welcome at all. And what I like personally about it is I'm a big fan of albums that just work well all together, stuff you don't really want to skip around, just something you want to put on and listen all the way through. And I've listened to this one a bunch of times, and it's always been all the way through. And really, I've had a hard time picking, standout tracks. It's like anytime I think one is my favorite, we get to the next song, and I think that one's even better. So we'll get into some of these tracks here. First song, Night Shift, the first I've heard from Lucy, ever before, totally new to me at the time. Starts off as this sort of mellow indie affair with the clean guitar going on there. I was immediately drawn to Lucy's voice, but I was not expecting the kind of garage rock explosion that happens later in the song. I thought that was really cool, and once I heard that, I was like, okay, I'm in for something pretty interesting, I think. And as the album went on, I was pretty surprised by all the genre bending going on. At first glance, Night Shift seemed like this was about to be like a typical indie album, but really once that guitar kicks in, the song really builds up. It just makes for a great opening track. And the lyrics on this one really speak to Lucy's kind of storytelling ability, which again, like the music, allow you to kind of get sucked into these tracks. Night Shift seems to be dealing with a pretty non-amicable breakup. And I think that verse towards the end that kind of gets repeated, the you have a 9 to 5, so I'll take the night shift, basically so I never have to run into you at any point. It's pretty clever and unique. The next song, Addictions, and kind of similar to the song Next of Kin later in the album, two of the more upbeat pieces, very indie rock driven. Both these songs have fantastic melodies in the vocals. Addictions does a fantastic job of really building up, bringing it down, building back up, which I always enjoy in a song. There are some very cool distorted guitars going on here, kind of like 70s inspired sounding, which is cool. And also there's a really nice use of some horns on this song as well. Sporadically throughout the album you hear some horns, you hear some strings, and it's all used extremely well and just really adds, and it makes it more than like the average indie or indie rock album. Next of Kin does a great job of using those distorted sounds as well. But as far as the earlier parts of the song, I think that chord progression is really fantastic, really melodic. I like how Lucy's vocals kind of dance around this song and Addictions. She pretty much stays in the same register throughout the album, but that never really seems to get old to me. As a lot of these songs build, she does add some more force to the voice, but, usually stays in that same comfort zone. But I think she just sounds so great that I don't really mind that. And if anything, has this sort of grounding feeling when a lot of these songs really start to swell up and swirl around and the extra instrumentation is added. Body to Flame is a huge standout for me. It's super interesting, talk about that kind of genre bending. This song has a very classical aspect to it. The earlier parts of the song have this sort of kind of waltz feel to it, even though it's being done on this more modern instrumentation. You do hear some strings popping up throughout that really adds to that feel. And Lucy's vocals in particular speak more to a classical or operatic type style. And then the song busts open, there's this kind of Spanish-tinged guitar line before ultimately going into this great build-up, kind of stadium-sized sound towards the end. Another one of these songs that really just takes you on this phenomenal journey. Speaking of that stadium sound, you kind of get that in Non-Believer as well. It just has a sort of anthem-y kind of feel to it, and one that I could see just filling a large venue. Time Fighter is a really cool one as well. Again, as I'm listening to this album, hearing all these songs for the first time, this one surprised me as well. It has this kind of almost electronic feel in the bass, but is very bluesy in nature. It has a very like deep, nice groove to it, and it's another one that ultimately explodes into this garage rock frenzy. Those moments come and go, which is really cool, and ultimately you get this really nice, kind of relaxed, almost Pink Floyd-y type feel as well in this one. What I like about this song and a song like Pillar of Truth are, Lucy's lyrics dealing with, age and time, and a lot of these other songs dealing with loss. So while there's like a lot of sadness on this record, there also is just like this cool kind of glimmer of hope in all these songs as well. I kind of get the feeling she's looking back, but also looking forward at the same time. I don't know if that's just in the uplifting instrumentation in a lot of these songs, or just a glimmer of hope that shows up in the lyrics themselves, but I think that's a really cool effect. Historians goes out on this nice, soft ending, like a nice kind of finale following the longer Pillar of Truth. It's a very restrained song, but you do get this cool swelling instrumentation. And I think I've covered everything but Yours and Mine, which is probably my favorite on here. I think it's the first one that really caught my ear and made me go back to this album over and over. The song just has a nice beat to it, and just, melody after melody from Lucy that will just get stuck in your head in the best way possible. I like that the song, once again, really builds up. It swells into this nice guitar solo section before going back into that killer chorus melody that I do really enjoy so much. So yeah, like I said, I hadn't been familiar with Lucy Dacus before. I've only checked out their first record a bit. I've listened to this one a whole bunch, but definitely one of my favorite albums of the year so far. I am aware that I just gave Judas Priest a 5 out of 5, but I gotta give this one a 5 as well, which is pretty crazy because I think I only gave 2 5s last year, but this one just feels like such a complete, full album to me. I am super excited to see where she goes as an artist. This is only her second record. Hopefully we see her really start to take off with this one. So yeah, let me know what you think of the album in the comments. If you haven't heard of her, if you haven't checked her out, highly recommend it. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.